rover. Here's what we learned. Mars News Report, August 5th, 2022.
As Curiosity rover safely explore the surface of Mars, engineers here on Earth use a nearly identical sibling named Maggie. This full-scale engineering model helps the team practice operations in the Mars yard at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I'm Raquel Villanueva, here with Curiosity Deputy Project Scientist Abigail Freeman. Her team is celebrating their 10th year on the Red Planet. Where has the rover traveled to in the past decade?
Well, we've spent the last basically 10 years Martian mountain climbing. Curiosity landed at the base of a big mountain named Mount Sharp that is made of layers of rocks. So we're climbing the mountain to give us a snapshot of Martian history. We've driven about 17.5 miles, and more impressively, we've climbed over 2,000 feet in elevation up the mountain. We're all the way up in these hills now. It's pretty spectacular.
With all that climbing, how is Curiosity doing?
Pretty good, actually. You know, all of our science instruments are working just about as good as they did when we landed. We have nearly our full capabilities. The arm and the drill and the rover, they're a little bit arthritic, so we have to be a little bit gentle when we use them. And our wheels are a little bit beat up. The wheels on Maggie look great, but we have some test wheels that we've really destroyed. The wheels on the rover are somewhere between these two. You know, we just drilled our 35th sample the other week, so still doing amazing science.
And how do you decide where the rover is going to go? Do you work with other NASA missions?
You know, the data from the Mars orbiters have been really helpful. The spectrometers, that's the kind of instrument on Odyssey and Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, have told us where the interesting minerals are and where the best places to go to look at changing environments are. And then in particular, the cameras on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, they're so good and they're so helpful at allowing us to find the safest way that we can climb this mountain.
What would you say is the biggest discovery your team has made?
You know, Curiosity was sent to Mars in order to answer a really big question. Did Mars have all of the ingredients that we know life needed? And 10 years later, not only have we given that answer a definitive yes, but we've also seen that those ingredients were around for tens of millions of years.
And what's next for Curiosity?
We can see from orbit that we're getting to a place in the mountain that likely records a pretty dramatic change in the sorts of environments that we're around. You know, the lakes that once filled Gale started to dry out, and we're getting to that period in time. So we're really interested in answering how long do these habitable environments persist as Mars and Gale Crater went through these pretty big climate changes. I just can't wait to see what's next. We've seen hints that the rocks are going to be very different very soon. And so I'm really curious what we're going to find.
Well, that is an exciting new chapter for you. And congratulations on 10 years. Thanks, Abigail.
Thanks so much.
To get the latest updates, follow at NASA JPL and at NASA Mars on social media, or take a deeper dive on the mission websites at mars.nasa.gov.
There's one more. Right here.
15 photos of Mars that scared astronomers. Scientists have found all sorts of scary and unusual objects on Mars, including human faces, cannonballs, and even a jelly donut. Let's take a look at some of the weirdest images from Mars that changed everything we know about it. Number 15, Face on Mars. This one's a classic image that's also driven all sorts of intriguing theories about how this head showed up on the surface of the Red Planet. NASA's Viking 1 orbiter zipped near Mars in 1976 and took this now iconic image of the surface. What got everyone excited is the face-like formation in the upper center of the picture. Many people imagine it as having two eyes, a nose, and some weird hair. Some even claim that it resembles a young Elvis Presley, with a few people claiming that it even was an alien-built monument on Mars. After some research, NASA decided to further explore the infamous Mars face, with the Mars Global Surveyor taking a fresh image of the face and showing a much blobbier, less stark formation. In short, it's just a mesa and not an alien-carved religious site. Number 14, Morse code on Mars.
Where's the Mars?
A view snapped from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter snapped in February 2016 showed some strange formations on the surface of the red planet. The dark raised areas are a series of dunes that look a lot like the dots and dashes of Morse code. All the same, it's striking and almost eerily deliberate looking, the kind of thing that really does appear to have been created by an intelligent hand. Unfortunately, the code spells out gibberish. Planetary scientist Veronica Bray analyzed the dune image and told Gizmodo the code word reads out to Number 13, the Mars thigh bone. Another picture that quickly sparked curiosity among the astronomer community was the NASA Curiosity rover, finding what resembled a thigh bone on the red planet. In the photo description, NASA officials wrote that while this Mars rock may look like a femur thigh bone, it is not the fossilized remains of a mysterious Martian. Number 12, Martian blueberries. Trying to sort out the origins of these blueberries has always involved studying similar-looking spherical formations here on Earth. New research takes its inspiration from these terrestrial analogs to offer a new idea of the chemistry that may have gone into whipping up these Martian blueberries. As aesthetic as the Martian blueberries look, they are nothing even remotely related to plants. The bluish balls are hematite-rich spherules spotted by the NASA Mars Opportunity rover in 2004 near the Fram crater. Number 11, Martian tadpole. The next big thing spotted on Mars was the so-called Martian tadpole, a formation spotted by NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which could also be considered a yo-yo or a sperm. It's actually a circular crater with a tail that was carved out by water movement. You can infer that water there is flowing outward because they have the necessary terrain height information. While it's widely accepted that the planet had a long-distant watery past, it doesn't currently host any amphibian life as far as we know. Number 10, Martian fish. There is a fish-shaped rock on Mars, which for some reason shook the entire astronomy world despite there not being any actual fish on Mars, much less given the fact that there's no surface sea there. The rock shape and the lighting at the time of the photo combine to create the fishy look. NASA has something to say about the possibility of fossilized bones and animals on Mars. Mars likely never had enough oxygen in its atmosphere and elsewhere to support more complex organisms. Thus, large fossils are not likely. Number 9, Martian dust devil. A mesmerizing dust jet appears far back in a scenic Mars landscape photo taken by NASA's Opportunity rover in 2016. However, this is nothing more than a dust devil, just like the ones we have on Earth. A dust devil is a strong, well-formed and relatively short-lived whirlwind, ranging from small to large. The primary vertical motion is upward. Dust devils are usually harmless, but can, on rare occasions, grow large enough to pose a threat to both people and property. Towering dust devils are weather hazards on Mars, and they're something future human visitors will need to be prepared to handle. Number 8, waffle-shaped island on Mars. Next up, we have a waffle-shaped island on Mars, spotted by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter from late 2014. The 1.2-mile-wide feature is located in an area of lava flow. It's not evidence of waffle irons on Mars, but it might be the result of lava pushing the formation up from below. Of all the things that astronomers could find on the red planet, dragon scales is high up there in the unexpected list. Resembling a dragon scale from Game of Thrones, most fantasy and science fiction fans will find themselves quite disappointed upon finding out that the scaly pattern from Mars doesn't come from a mythical creature, but rather through ancient landscape processes involving erosion. The nature of the water responsible for the alteration and how it interacted with the rock to form the clay remains poorly understood. Number 7, Martian spoon. A suspended spoon is probably one of the least interesting things you'll find on Martian surface. Yet still, a long-handled spoon stretching out over the landscape was spotted by the NASA Curiosity rover. Fred Kay, a sharp-eyed contributor to the unmanned spaceflight forums, noticed a funny shape in a raw image taken by Curiosity during Mars Sol 1089, which translates to August 30th for us. It looks like a long-handled spoon delicately stretching out over the landscape, hovering above its own shadow. Number 6, Mars bright light. NASA's Curiosity rover sent back a curious photo in 2014 showing a blip of light on the horizon of Mars. The image excited UFO fans, who speculated about the light source, wondering if it might be evidence of alien activity. NASA scientist Doug Ellison rained on the extraterrestrial parade, with the explanation that the blip was likely caused by a cosmic ray hit, the result of high-energy particles flying through space. Number 5. Mars Curiosity rover's missing plastic piece. Next up, we have a piece of the Mars Curiosity rover, which has been at the center of many unusual object sightings on the planet. A famous incident occurred in 2012, when the rover noticed a shiny object on the ground that didn't match its surroundings. Speculation ranged from jokes about cufflinks to it even being an AOL CD. However, the explanation was a bit disappointing on NASA's end, with them claiming it to be a small plastic piece of the rover. Number 4. Marsalanche. Another intriguing and rather aesthetic picture instead of scary is the famous Marsalanche, which owes its name due to being an avalanche that happened on a steep Mars cliff. A cloud of particles puffs upward at a steep cliff in this 2010 image from NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. According to NASA, this sort of event happens mainly during the planet's springtime, which roughly corresponds to April and early May on Earth. Those ice blocks took a swan dive down a 1,640-foot or 500-meter cliff face and triggered a huge dust cloud in the process in May. That cloud is on full display in the image released back then, which had astronomers completely shook. Number 3. Martian Cannonball. In December 2017, a well-known blog for UFO enthusiasts posted a close-up look of a spherical object spotted by NASA's Curiosity rover and suggested it was a cannonball left over from a war on the Red Planet. NASA's rover team responded with a Twitter message pointing out how the concretion is less than a quarter inch and is actually made up of minerals, not exactly cannonball material, and much less the leftover of a war on Mars. It's actually made up of calcium sulfate, sodium, and magnesium. Number 2. Jelly donuts. Yes, even jelly donuts have been spotted on Martian pictures in the past. A jelly donut-shaped object appeared rather suddenly in a set of before and after images from NASA's Opportunity rover on Mars. Some people believed it to be an alien fungus, but NASA was having none of that nonsense. Apparently, the rock resulted because a rover dislodged it after driving over it. If there's one thing we can be sure of, is that NASA still hasn't found any snacks on Martian soil. Number 1. Labyrinth of the Night. Another intriguing image spotted by NASA's Reconnaissance Orbiter was the bizarre-looking formation spotted in a region known as the Labyrinth of the Night, or the Noctis Labyrinthus, composed of clusters of sand dunes, boulders, and sedimentary deposits on the surface of the Red Planet that were each exhumed as they eroded, creating a mystifying yet still intriguing layered mesa on its surface.
No, this is even scary.
If these images of Mars didn't scare you speechless, then you might want to check out our other videos too.
Okay. Now, I want to check out this here.
My name is Florence Tan. I'm the SAM Electrical Lead Engineer. I work at Goddard Space Flight Center. SAM stands for Sample Analysis at Mars. It is an organic chemistry lab on the Curiosity rover. It is the most well-equipped chemistry lab that we've sent to Mars to date. Curiosity landed on Mars on August the 5th, 2012. It was born on Mars that day, and so we consider that day as its birthday. We're here at the testbed lab where SAM is built. Curiosity landed on Mars on August the 5th, 2012. It was born on Mars that day, and so we consider that day as its birthday. We're here at the testbed lab where SAM is built. It is an identical unit to the unit on Mars, and we use this unit to test our experiments before it is transmitted to Mars. SAM will be running some great science experiments on Mars. We will be analyzing some soil samples. To make the soil samples go down, we had to program it to vibrate at various frequencies. When we're introducing a sample into SAM, it'll go through a resonance and it'll sound like this. To commemorate Sam's birthday and Curiosity's birthday on Mars, we decided to play a little song. If there's anyone listening on Mars, on this special occasion, you will hear this. It's really neat and it's exciting. This is a first for NASA and for the world. And music brings us all together, so this is fun. It's been a great year on Mars, and I cannot wait to get to Mars Sharp next year. We've discovered so many new things, and there's still lots more discoveries to come.
To Curiosity on August 22nd next year. Make sure to. Yep, I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Oh, sorry, burp. Next time. This is the first episode of the lab. Actually, this is science pretty much. So, first episode of the lab. Goodbye. Have a great day.